Hey everyone, welcome to your Sunday movie podcast.
Damn, I thought he was going to say Save That Pig. Because this is Save That Pig, the show where you, the viewer, get to save one pig.
Julien, explain the rules to the audience.
I think there are 5 pigs now, and they're all in a bag. You get to pick one out and save that pig from becoming bacon. Yvonne, I'm one of your hosts.
I had some spare ribs from our last non-saved pigs, and I have to tell you, they were scrumptious.
I gotta tell you, man, every time we don't save a pig, I'm only benefiting. So hell yeah, let's save those pigs. Am I right, guys? Or am I right? This is Hungover Podcast, episode 70. We are celebrating because it's E3, and therefore, our podcast comes out every Monday, and, E3 is going on currently, so you can watch us watch E3 live. Sony will be going up on the day this podcast goes out on Monday, so you can watch it with us. But, Yvonne, I'll tell you, if you want all of our live reactions to E3, or all of our recorded reactions to E3, you're going to have to wait one more week, because we don't want to record a podcast and have things, change or whatever, so we like to do it a week after. But I'll tell you, Yvonne, you can get this podcast on
Give some
iTunes,
perspective.
SoundCloud. Perspective. Gaming perspective is everything.
You know where the audience members' perspective matters a lot?
Where?
On iTunes, where you can leave us a review.
This guy's way ahead of me. He's so good at this. Oh my god. You can leave a review for us because that helps with our visibility. But we're also on SoundCloud, where you can comment everywhere, and also on Google Play in audio form. But of course, who cares about those when you can watch our beautiful faces in video form on YouTube and leave comments and likes and subscribe to us and hit the and smash that bell button. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, Yvonne, we have somewhat.
Did we say we're on Twitch right now?
Oh yeah, we're also on Twitch, twitch.tv/JujubeesGood, or twitch.tv/ComradeBoyer, where he auto-hosts me live. Yvonne, that's
yes.
all really exciting. We just watched the Microsoft press conference, but this is going to be about a movie called Battle Royale 2, the sequel to Battle Royale.
And before we do any of that...
You're right. Just you take it. Just do it.
Before we get into that movie, Julien,
yes.
I want to know, what have you been indulging in this week in our segment called Save That Pig, Indulging in the Week?
I'll tell you, Yvonne, I've done a couple things. So throughout the week, a great game came out on the Nintendo Switch on Friday. So not throughout the week, actually just this weekend I've been playing it, called Sushi Striker, Weight of the Sushido.
Is that out?
Yeah, that came out on
I really
Friday.
want to see you play that.
You missed it. I was streaming it on Friday. And just Friday.
Damn my relationship.
It's all right. God damn my relationship. But yeah, it's a fun game. It's a match. Well, it's not match 3. Basically, there are 3 sushi lanes going by with different sushis on different colored plates. You gotta highlight them, and then once you start highlighting it, you have 7 seconds to connect the colored plates with with the same colored plates, and then you eat the sushi. You stack up the plates. Then you throw the plates at your enemy who's doing the same thing, and there's one shared lane where both people can take a sushi plate from. This game's out on 3DS and Nintendo Switch, and I'll tell you, if you're looking for a fun puzzle game at a premium cost, it is a very fun game. But I'll tell you also, there's online multiplayer, there's local multiplayer with you pop off the Switch Joy-Cons, and also there's 150 levels of fun anime-themed gameplay. The story is ridiculous. It's in a world without sushi, or in a world without fish. This oppressive government is hoarding all the fish or something, or they've eliminated
Dude, that sounds
fish.
like the nightmare of nightmares for Japan.
I know. What are they gonna do, right? So basically, there's no fish, and then there's these weird, cute sushi sprites that can summon sushi, and you basically take 3 of them on your team, and they all have different special abilities and things like that. So there's a lot of complexity, and it's also an RPG. You level them up. You got items to use. It's a fun game. There is a lot to be played there as we wait patiently for Mario Tennis to come out on the 22nd.
That looks so much fun. I really want to come down and play it.
Mario Tennis is dope. I cannot wait for that game. Yvonne, aside from that, we played a little bit of Overwatch.
We're getting good.
Really well. We're finally getting good. The tank boys are rolling out. I jumped up 150 or 200 SR in one night just because we're good. I don't know, Vaughn. I think
I jumped up 100 and something the other night too.
Yeah, and so he's jumped up 200 in total in 1 week. That's pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and if you look at our hero ranks, they're actually pretty spectacular.
They're getting there. They are certainly getting there. We're coming for you, XQC. Give us your
You're looking at a almost top 1/3 Zarya player right here.
Nice. I'm just telling you, Yvonne. I really had fun playing video games this week. And I watched a little more Dragon Ball Z, and that's about it for me. But I'll also tell you, I had a nice cup of iced tea instead of alcohol in terms of varying drinks. Obviously, I drank a lot of water. Got to stay hydrated in this heat. But that's about it in terms of variety of drinks for me. How about you, Yvonne?
I'm cutting back on the alcohol, so this week I've only had it 3 out of the 7 days.
That is really cutting back for you, I gotta tell you.
That is cutting back for me. Impressive. Now, I'm not saying I have like a bottle of wine every night. I'm just saying maybe a glass or two
or 3,
of something or
depending
other.
On what's going on.
Last night we had Laura prepared a delicious dinner of scallops and some yams, some mashed yams with all sorts of spices in there, and her famous peppers and onions and mushrooms all fried up together, and the most glorious spiciness you'll ever enjoy.
Okay.
It's so spicy that immediately I needed Tums.
But that's not that spicy, so...
That's true. But we opened up a bottle of Cerise, which is from Ravines, the Ravines Winery, which is a Finger Lakes winery. It is very nice. It actually went really well, because a lot of the Finger Lakes, reds especially, but whites as well, are very light. So that they don't knock you in the teeth. They're not going to overbalance your palate. And it was actually very drinkable. And this is like a red table wine, which is a really good balance to the spiciness of the meal and like the scallop taste. Neither of them really overpowered the other, and it was a really nice light way to carry through the meal. I really enjoyed it. Last night's meal was incredibly delicious. I can't say the same about the Solo movie, which I saw this week. Again, Julian's the gaming guy. I'm the movie guy.
We balance each other out.
So
but you play games too.
Yeah, I do,
but I don't
mostly
watch
just
movies.
Overwatch. I don't have the funding to buy all of the games, Julian. I have the funding to buy all the movies.
You have Movie Pass. It's not that expensive.
Exactly.
There you go.
But this I saw in IMAX 3D. Now, I was going to say that part of the experience of watching this film was also that it was just not the best IMAX 3D experience. I had to go out into the lobby and tell them to turn the lights off because the wall sconces and the ceiling like house lights were all low but on as the movie started. It's like, what the fuck is this? I could see the light on the screen.
Yeah.
I paid like $40, $40-something.
Yeah, for 2 tickets or...
Yeah, for 2 tickets.
Yeah.
I was so annoyed. So anyway, I went in there, I told them. And then, I'm not giving any spoilers for Solo, but just to say that I think that if they want to do these one-off stories, like a Star Wars story, they can't do anything with super well-known heroes. I think that no one can really, even if Han Solo isn't my favorite character, Harrison Ford is a very charismatic actor.
Of course.
And the way he plays that kind of character is unique to him and him alone, I think. So it just didn't work to tell that story, and the writing was horrible.
Really?
The story was super predictable. It looked really good. It was one of the better looking Star Wars films, and the soundtrack, I was like, it's okay. Laura really liked it, so it's a mixed review there. But I would say that this is a movie that's quite skippable. Watch it on an airplane.
Wow.
That's what I would say. It's not good.
Damn.
The acting is bad. The dialogue is so shitty. It's incredible.
It's cringy.
Yeah, a lot of the times.
What about the counterpart to Solo, Lando Calrissian? What does he do? Is he good in this movie?
He's like, I would say he's the only bright spot, Donald Glover.
Okay.
But it's only because it's so meta. It's like Donald Glover playing Lando Calrissian being played by what's his name?
William H. Mays.
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah, Billy D. Williams.
Billy Mays here with the solo Star Wars trailer.
Yeah.
In any case, I would say that all of that being said, Lando Calrissian is really cool. I like his character a lot, especially getting a little bit more airtime. But in general, this is something that you can watch when it comes to Netflix, or most likely you can watch it on an airplane. Okay. And still be satisfied with the experience. Even that being said, it is visually pretty cool. So maybe an airplane isn't the best, but it's really not an interesting movie.
Get that 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray and watch it on your 65-inch 4K projector or screen. Maybe that.
I'm just saying, on the level of where I would see this movie, IMAX 3D is too much. Even seeing it in the theater is too much. Renting it at home, I would be upset after spending the money to rent it. So watching it on an airplane is kind of where I feel comfortable.
Damn, man. Okay. But you have to factor in the cost of the airplane ticket. So it has
Yeah, exactly. So you feel like you're paying for an expensive exclusive look at a movie, and it's a Star Wars movie, which is like $1 billion movie with no interesting actors that really get to do what they want to do. Although Woody Harrelson is always fun. But he plays the same character.
Well, that disappoints me greatly. And I'm interested. It must have not gotten great reviews as well. I think your consensus is, or sorry, your opinion is the consensus. That word of the movie. I think.
I haven't read any of the reviews.
I know it's doing poorly in the box office, so I'm guessing that's due to reviews. I don't think. But I guess it could also be due to how they advertised it leading up to its release. I completely forgot, May rolled around, and I completely forgot that movie was coming out on the 25th, the end of the month. So I was surprised that a Star Wars movie could bomb at the box office. Even by Star Wars Episode 3, when we were knee-deep in the shit of the prequels, right? Mm-hmm. Even that movie did well. So I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think that this is just a bit of Star Wars fatigue, and a bit of the fact that I think that people didn't want to see a non-Harrison Ford Han Solo, and I think there's a good reason for it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it would be ridiculous to do, the other two of the trilogy, Leia and Luke. That would be, if they did a prequel to their story, whatever, that would be, kind of another bomb at the box office, a waste of Disney's money. So
I would imagine that Leia is the only one that you could do it for, though.
Yeah.
And Leia's prequel you basically did because of Rogue One.
Right, exactly. I don't, well, I'm just saying you're exactly right. I don't think,
what is your Luke? You just watch him work on. It's like Brokeback Mountain. He's just working on the farm. Meets another guy. I can't quit you.
Here's how and that guy teaches him all the things he knows. Flying and building C-3PO or whatever.
How to shoot Wampa rats or whatever from
he
the
didn't
speeder.
build C-3PO. All right, anyways, enough about Solo, Yvonne. Let's talk about a different movie.
Of equal shittiness or worse.
Probably worse. This is the first and perhaps the last movie review we get, depending on how it does. No, this is okay. So we're trying to review more movies on our podcast because I think it's a little more interesting to our our fan base, quote unquote. And I think
I would say our audience.
Our audience.
I don't know that we have a fan
no
base.
one's a fan of us. Let's be honest, it's true. I'm a fan of us. All right, Yvonne. I think we do good content.
I don't think Laura's a fan of us.
Well, I wasn't trying to get your girlfriend to be a fan of me. She can stay being a fan of whoever she's a fan of. Yvonne, so
Idris Elba.
Basically, okay, if I'm going up against Idris Elba, I'm going to lose 15 times out of 10, so it doesn't matter.
That's true.
That's so true. He's a great guy. I wanted to say, though, I think that this movie sort of ties in to the greater picture of Battle Royale as a genre of video games. So Battle Royales have become, we're seeing them in new games coming out. The two biggest shooters of the year, Battlefield 5 and Call of Duty next, Black Ops 4, are going to have Battle Royale modes in them at some point. And so I wanted to talk about, for the first official movie club review, Battle Royale. But instead of Battle Royale, I want to say Battle Royale 2, because I think we're in the next phase of Battle Royale games as it is. Because Battle Royale games came out swinging with H1Z1 and PUBG and Fortnite. And I think the general consensus on those games is that they're really good. It's a great genre, and people have a lot of fun playing them. But I think that we're moving towards the second phase of that sort of video gaming hype, and we're going to see some maybe iffy attempts, not necessarily Battlefield and Call of Duty, but I think we're going to see a lot of other games trying to replicate the experience, and we'll see some iffy attempts at and maybe the genre will die due to it. I don't know. So
I think the genre is already dying, to be honest.
Exactly. So that's why I thought it was fitting to talk about Battle Royale 2, the anime-ass movie that's in real life by horrible actors.
Such horrible acting. So, Battle Royale 2 Requiem is a sequel to the 2000 film Battle Royale.
Yes.
The first film was directed by Kinji Fukasaku, or something like that. Apologize for my pronunciation. It's based on a novel of the same name. And so Battle Royale 2 was to be a sequel. Also, it was slated to be directed by Kinji. However, he succumbed to prostate cancer.
Oh.
And thus, the film was actually completed by his son, Kenta Fukasaku, with only one scene having been filmed before the death of Kenji, the director of Battle Royale. So Battle Royale 2 is actually a movie filmed by, I think, a much less talented director, with a more grandiose perspective of himself, and he wanted this project to be named a project that was not his, but his father's, in fact.
Right. And so I believe the premise of the original Battle Royale, if I'm remembering correctly, is basically a class of high school students. I believe it's around 40.
Isn't it middle school students?
Oh, sorry, they're middle school. They look like they're high school students, all right?
I mean, they're all 20 years old.
Yeah, okay. So they're a group of students in Japan have been captured. I think there's around 40 or 50 of them. It's not the 100 that you typically get in Battle Royale games, but have been captured. They're gassed on a bus, and then they wake up and they're basically forced to kill each other on an island, or try to survive, be the last surviving person on this island that they can't get off of, because and the kicker is they have these these necklaces that are on their neck that are actually bombs, or they will slit their throat or something. It's a very violent movie, but I think it was actually a really good movie. So basically, if they're in these zones, these red zones during the time in which let me see how to explain it. There are certain zones that are blocked off in the island, and during a certain time period during the day, it will become a red zone, similar to PUBG. And if they're caught in that zone for a certain amount of time, that bomb will blow up and kill them. So they have to be moving throughout the island, and they will encounter other students at that point and try to kill each other. The other option would be to maybe try to get off the island. They can't do that. I think they have to stay within a certain distance of the island, or that bomb will go off as well. And I think there was also a time limit on the entire experience as well.
Right.
So that's like the premise of the first movie. Super epic, I think. And it made for some really cool scenes, and I think the actors totally captured some crazy anime tropes from I guess from the manga.
And also similar to actual battle royale games, the weapons that everybody was given were basically randomized.
Yeah.
So you had a variety of weapons and like
there was
character tropes,
a sickle,
and
no one had a gun, I don't think.
Somebody had a comma.
A comma, exactly. So I thought, and that sort of added personality to each character in the movie, and I thought that was really cool, and it was super. I think it was pretty well shot. There are a lot of good scenes in that movie, and you sort of learn the backstory throughout the entire movie of these characters and who they are and who they have to become in order to live. And I think people, I don't know, it's a good movie, worth watching.
I think in general, one of the big differences between Battle Royale and Battle Royale 2, right? So Battle Royale 2 is the survivors of Battle Royale and subsequent survivors have formed a defensive alliance and a terrorist cell that does different things. And in Battle Royale 2, they're sending captured students, again captured from a middle school, to the island, but to do battle with the original resistance leaders, which is Shuya from the first movie.
Right.
Exactly. So, but all of them are equipped with rifles, and it's more like a war as opposed to the Battle Royale game from BR1. Mm-hmm. So in BR2, there's a bunch of characters. There's like 48 students to start with, and they almost read all of their names to go through at the beginning. There's like an hour of the movie is them going through the setup of going to the island in like one room. Clearly poorly scripted and like paced movie, with like the first girl who blows up due to her collar takes literally 3 minutes, and then after that it takes 15 seconds.
Also, by the way, we're going into full spoilers for this movie, so watch it first. But this movie came out, I believe, 10 years ago. And
this is the point of the movie club.
Yeah, so you would have had to... Okay, whatever. Keep going. Who cares?
So this movie, like... Even if you didn't remember the name of the characters in Battle Royale, what you recognize were their like kind of their personality and their weapons. So the weapon was kind of an extension of the characterization of the person, whereas in Battle Royale 2, I think it's
super
harder
anime
for non-Japanese people to understand or remember because they're saying a bunch of names, and because we're not accustomed to those names. It's hard for us to keep track of who is who, basically. Yeah. And so we don't grow an attachment to the character as much. Like, in the first one, even if you didn't know the character's name, you're like, okay, that's Kama Girl, or that's Psycho Guy. Yeah. In this one, there's like the punks and then the regular kids, and that's basically it.
And then there's the weird, creepy girl that just wants to win. She just wants to... She's... sort of the secondary character. She just wants to kill... Basically, the students have been sent on a mission to kill Shuya, who is the head of the terrorist group, and the winner of the Battle Royale, I believe, the original Battle Royale. So, and there's this one girl who's just convinced that she needs to kill him. I believe that's the premise of the movie, or her character.
Yeah. Well, she is. It gets. It. You can see it at the beginning, and it gets connected by the end that she is the daughter of the
Takeda, right? The
Kitano.
Hitano.
The teacher from the first one.
Another guy. He's a very famous actor in Asian cinema. He's in a lot of Chinese movies, I believe, but he's definitely in a lot of Japanese movies, and even maybe some Korean movies. But he's usually plays this sort of big boss character of a gang or something. He tends to be a villain, but in this movie, he's the father of the girl I was just describing, and I think like Anthony Hopkins and Idris Elba, they had him for maybe 30 minutes on the set. And they just had to do all the shots right then and there.
So that is the one scene that was shot by the director's father.
Yeah.
The director of BR1, Kinji.
Yeah.
Shot that scene with Kitano.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't.
And
know that.
so that's why that scene gets repeated throughout, because it's kind of like the son's homage to his father.
It's the best scene in the movie.
So that's the reason that it gets repeated so often.
Oh, that's hilarious. Also, that's really sad at the same time. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean I think he's a great actor, but he is also in the movie for maybe 5 minutes max.
And it's a repetition, not unlike what was
Anthony
there, EA's conference,
where
they showed the same 15-second loop about 30 times. That's what happens with Kitano, the daughter remembering her father on this birthday.
Yeah, right. It was.
In any case, it's a really long and convoluted plot in the overall scheme. Like, they reach and are captured and join the resistance within the first hour. So there's like 45 minutes of setup, 15 minutes of them on the island, and then an hour of them resisting the military's attack on them. So it's a really poorly paced movie that doesn't have a lot of plot. And what the director said was that he wanted the film to be a controversial film that focused on the idea of what it is to be a terrorist and like the perspective of a terrorist. But the plot is so like fucked up. It's like he wants to make a comment on American militarism.
Yeah.
But he also has to make a battle royale film, and those two concepts, they just don't work well together.
Not
oil
yet,
and water.
Not yet, anyways. They don't make sense yet, anyways. But yeah, exactly, because I think I couldn't figure out. Maybe I just zoned out. I remember the main bad guy, right? He's the teacher of these students.
Yeah, Kitano too.
Yeah, he's basically he has a duster on. And he's eating these pills for some reason. I don't think that was ever explained. And then there was this one scene where he's just eating too many of them.
That is the greatest meme scene in the movie.
I know.
She's just like...
Yeah. But like I was saying, I may have zoned out, but he was listing a bunch of countries, and they had to fade out and fade in at the end where he listed all of the countries on the chalkboard. And he asked the students, what do all these countries have in common? And I guess the answer was they're all American occupied.
No, they had all been bombed by America in the past 66 years.
Okay.
Which, actually, the list of countries there is actually really interesting. It's everything from Peru to Grenada to Libya to Japan.
Of course.
So it's actually a very intriguing group of countries. And one that I was like, I hadn't really thought of all of those countries being linked this way. So actually, he did have a good point. Just don't use this movie to talk about that. It's so fucking stupid.
It's a weird movie. And I think the problem, it could have been just another Battle Royale movie, and I think it would have been totally fine to have that sequel. But
we had like 15 Steven Seagal movies. Couldn't we have just 2 Battle Royale movies?
I know, right? And we had 5 or 6 Rambos. But I think, like you were saying, going back to the point, the interesting thing about the original Battle Royale movie was that everyone had their own weapon and thus their own personality. In this movie, I know he was trying to make a commentary on war, and so I guess that, as vague as that possibly can be, war. But that sort of means that each of these students is now just a soldier, and they're just sort of there in the movie, and they're only a handful. I think there are really just
only two or three, four characters I would say that you actually care about.
Yeah,
it's blonde punk guy.
Yeah,
blonde guy Taku, who's the only name I actually remember. Who's like the punk guy who fails to score a try at the beginning of the game.
Right.
Then his girlfriend, and then crazy daughter girl, who wants to kill Shuya. Those are the only four outside of Shuya. And then on Shuya's side, it's really just him. You don't know anybody else's name.
I like the sniper girl. She was cool.
But what was her name?
I don't know.
Exactly. It's just Sniper Girl.
But like you were saying, at least you can remember these characters by the fact that they had an interesting weapon. She had
That's a good
interesting
point.
weapon. So, and she was good at sniping and shit. I don't know. She was cool.
She's the one who saw they had collars on.
Exactly. Because she had the scope. But yeah, so basically, like I was saying, because all these characters, there's 40 students, are pretty much just faceless characters and not interesting. They were allowed to kill them off in waves. So they
so fast.
killed off like 10 at a time. And I think one of the interesting things about the first movie that sort of gave you an impact on what's happening is just every now and then, the main orchestrator, who is this Hitano guy too in this movie, announces who's dead, and like every 6 hours he'll go over the loudspeaker and announce this person died, and then they'll have an overlay of text saying there are 28 students left, and that sort of gave sort of an impact on just what the hell is happening. Students are killing each other. It's crazy. But yeah, so I mean, they do that again in this movie, but it didn't matter because none of the students mattered, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say that who are the people that you think had the most fun on set? Because I would say that Kitano 2, the sensei, the teacher,
yes,
just had a great time, just being the worst actor he could be, but in the most fun way.
Yeah, he was being very exaggerated in everything he did. They had a lot of tight shots of his face, if I remember correctly, and he would have the most ridiculous expression at every second. He loved walking around like a badass, and whipping around his duster and being very, very ridiculous. He tried to be very menacing.
And he took a note from Brad Pitt in Ocean's 11, in which he's always eating in the scenes that he's in.
But only eating pills. For some reason, I don't know.
I thought they were peanuts to begin with, they're like some sort of nut, but no, it turns out they were pills, or like mints.
Typically, you swallow pills, right? But he was chewing on them, so maybe they were just multivitamins. I don't know.
Then he shows up at the end of the movie in full rugby uniform.
I think that was the coolest scene in this movie. So for some reason, these students played, or at least the guys anyways, played rugby. Which I wouldn't think of Japan as a nation that plays rugby. I'm not saying they don't play rugby there. I'm just saying, would you think of Japanese playing rugby ever?
No.
I don't know. Right. So, I mean, maybe it happens. Who knows? I don't live in Japan.
Why not?
But for some reason, I guess the Hitano 2 that we've dubbed him, because we don't know his name in the movie and we don't know the actor's name. I guess he was the gym teacher? I don't know.
Well, Japan is ranked 11 in the world rankings of men's rugby, by the way.
Well, fuck me in the ass. I guess I was wrong. That's impressive for Japan.
Out of 30
and
countries
in general,
ranked.
That's still impressive. I wouldn't... honestly, I never I don't really think. I guess they have a decent World Cup team going in. I think.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. So that's really exciting. I guess we'll have to watch more Japanese rugby. But yeah, so the students were playing rugby, and there's this scene that they run back, and the guy misses the try, right? So he gets tackled and pushed out of bounds, I think, at the last second. And so that becomes important because all of them they're all graduating. So all these students, I think, are in middle school or high school, and they're all graduating. And on the bus to wherever the fuck they're going, they're all signing the ball, the rugby ball that I guess they played the game with. And they were all trying to remember each other and be friends, and it's like signing a yearbook. So at the end of the movie, Hitano 2 comes back with the same ball, dressed in rugby uniform, and says, I always wished I could have played with you guys. And I think it's just the most epic scene that is super played out, and just a ridiculous anime scene that would totally happen, because after that he's like, go on guys, go. And then and for some reason the island's exploding. I don't really know why.
They had a mass weapon that they started, which called in missiles.
Okay, and this guy's high out of his mind because he's on too many pills, and he's like, I always wish I could have played with you guys. Go on, get out of here. And he just jumps with the rugby ball into the explosion, and it's a great scene. I think it's the greatest scene in the movie. I think they had a triple take of him jumping too, if I'm not mistaken, which is super 2000s an action movie, because this is a 2000s action movie. And I think it was the perfect. I think they could have just ended it there, but they didn't. And then they went to. They had this confusing scene where they're now refugees, and there's a lot of connections to, I guess, refugees in which country was it?
So it was filmed in Pakistan, but I imagine
Yes.
that they were attempting to say it was Afghanistan. Although it could have been really any.
They said generic. They didn't say a specific.
They didn't say a specific place. But I was really curious because when you see the scenes, because throughout the movie they have scenes of obviously the Middle East and like burned out places and destroyed, bombed out buildings, and you go, where? This is obviously real footage. Did they buy this or did they go there?
Like they bought it,
but no, they went there and they filmed. And as is always the case, it's like real documentary style footage because all the kids are running to where the cameras are and different things. So it's definitely real footage shot in the real place. And looking up on IMDb, it was Pakistan that it was shot in.
Which is
so
crazy.
It's very intriguing. It's very intriguing that a movie that's this shitty has so much budget to go film in those kinds of locations.
Lot of money. I feel like and then so then they had the characters sort of become refugees, I guess, in Pakistan for some reason. I guess they finally escaped the tragedy that is Japan's state of affairs going on, which the adults and the children don't mesh together anymore. That's sort of the premise of the movie. And then yeah, that's what happened, right? So in the beginning of the movie, they have, I guess, Shuya's terrorist group blow up Tokyo, and it becomes Neo Tokyo, I guess. Or they blew up some large buildings in, I guess, Tokyo, some generic large Japanese city, which is usually Tokyo in these types of movies.
All they said was, you blew up and you killed. Apparently, everybody had somebody that was related in those bombings.
Okay, so
6 of the characters of that middle school had families that were killed in the bombing.
Was that actually explained in the movie?
Yes, because blonde punk guy Kusawara was like, my sisters, my brothers, they all died in the bombing. Okay. You did it, and then they killed him.
So that's an interesting plot point, right? That's something you can work with, but it's clearly not conveyed very well in the movie, I don't think.
No, this movie is so, like, it has
It
so
was
many
rushed.
masters that it has to be
Yeah.
it's beholden to, and like what's his name,
Kitano.
Kenta Fukasaka wants to talk about is terrorism, American
Yeah.
militarism, that kind of subject. What the Battle Royale books are about is a totally different subject. And what Kinji wanted to talk about is like the effects of the economic recession and the crisis of the lost decade of Japan, which
Yes.
is what the first movie is about.
Right, right, right.
So they've got like four different like huge major concepts that they're boiling down to into this film, and they run amok and don't ever conclude anything and have the weirdest convoluted paths. It's a strong mental image, or like it's a strong set of subjects to want to talk about, but in the worst way possible.
It's exactly. So basically this movie, I mean, it got handed off to the second director, and or so you're saying.
Yeah, he
And
apparently wrote the screenplay for both films, but
okay, so
I
never
find it
mind.
hard to believe that these two are made by the same like brain trust.
So it's just I feel like it's a result of just having, two people that are not working on the same level, obviously, because one passed away. Um, as a result, made this movie essentially. So it started through development, then got changed into a completely different direction, but still tried to hold on to the past, and just did not work out at all. It's a
For
very
two
bad movie.
hours, it
For
didn't work
two
out.
hours, it's a bad movie, except for one scene where this guy jumps into an explosion with a rugby ball. I think that's an epic way to end your movie, but it didn't end there. It just didn't end there.
It was super intriguing. I enjoyed it overall as a way of watching a movie just totally not hit the mark on any level. Not visually, no acting was good.
Yep.
There was no storyline. In that, I had to skip literally 30 minutes of the movie because I couldn't handle it. That's the kind of level of enjoyment.
Yeah,
It's
when
like I spoke earlier during our solo conversation of like
yeah,
IMAX 3D to like plane movie. Like this is a probably shouldn't ever be watched movie unless you're
definitely.
playing a drinking game.
But
This is drinking
honestly,
game level game or
don't
movie.
don't play the drinking game with this movie. Play it with the first movie, because that
Yes,
movie is actually worth watching. I think.
I
It
saw that one in
is.
theaters.
You did? I didn't know that.
Yeah, in Texas when it was a
Oh, cool.
rebroadcast
That's really
through
cool.
Alamo Drafthouse, so I watched it.
That's definitely actually sort of a cult classic type movie. It definitely started this sort of battle royale notion. I don't think it's the first battle royale mentioning in some form of fiction, but it's definitely, I think, the most
It's the
famous
precursor to
one.
the Hunger
Yeah.
Games.
Oh, definitely the precursor to the Hunger Games, which was a book and then a movie. And I believe the author said that she did not have any connection to this movie, even though it's clearly and manga clearly, or maybe they're just books. I don't know. I think it's a manga though.
It said novel on the wiki page, but I don't know what that
Okay.
is. There is a Battle Royale 2 manga.
Okay.
So
Okay.
even if
Battle
you're
Royale
not right, you are right.
2. Yes, I knew it. But like I said, I think the woman that wrote the Hunger Game movies and sorry, books, did not want to claim any connection to this at all, or the first movie, anyways. And I'm kind of mad at her for that, but I could be wrong. I would be mad if that was true. I don't know if it's true. But and then basically we had, so I sort of wanted to bring this into a broader discussion of how battle royale games are going. Basically, we had this movie, then the sequel, then a large gap until the Hunger Games, and then there was a large gap until PUBG came out, or basically of a couple years. So I wanted to know, do you think, you already said earlier that you think that this is sort of just a fad and not going to stick around? Do you think that Call of Duty and Battlefield 5 are going to change your opinion at all?
No, I think that Call of Duty, especially, is a game that is not innovative.
Mm-hmm.
They basically either perfect or glom onto and don't perfect X version of a game type.
Yeah.
So, like for instance, Battlefield had these long, involved, multi-stage maps.
Yes.
And Call of Duty repeated that in World War II.
Did they?
So
What? I don't know what game
with
mode it was.
the ground war, it's I'll look it up briefly. But I like Call of Duty in particular with like zombies and the now introduction of battle royale. Is Call of Duty is a franchise that doesn't perfect or doesn't initiate things and
Yes.
only occasionally perfects things, but then often breaks the perfection that they made. Like Call of Duty Zombies was actually a pretty good um, game type, but it varies based on iterations. So, War is a narrative-driven multiplayer game mode developed in partnership with Raven Software. Two teams of 6 players perform objectives as either allied or Axis, so it is an objective-based game type that isn't like deathmatch or whatever. So you have to build a bridge to capture a point, and then you do several different actions, and there are several different like spawn and whatever points that move left to right on a map, basically.
Okay, that's
so
interesting.
It's a lot more like the Battlefield 1 game type, which was the ground operations,
Cool.
which they've carried on to the Battlefield 5. So ground operations was a game type. Operations, a move mode that takes it across multiple maps to simulate a campaign from the war. So it's a multiplayer version of a campaign. An attacking team controls a battalion with limited respawn tickets, similarly to Rush. They must progress across sectors of a map by capturing their control points. If the attackers are successful, the team moves on to a different map. So basically, it's several cycles of the same map and then a second map. And you have to kind of clear through different points. And based on where you are in the map, either the attacking or the defensive team gets things like trains or airships or different other alternative ways to play or stronger units that will help them push forward or defend.
Okay.
So I think that World War II and Battlefield 1 are games that took that concept from other games and tried to perfect it within them. They're obviously bigger budget games that are more accessible to do this kind of thing. But I don't think that they're innovative. So what that tells me is that Battle Royale modes have come to the point where the largest like AAA titles are trying to catch this kind of
ride the wave.
Exactly, catch lightning in a bottle. And the reason that I think the reason that battle royale games are so popular right now, initially PUBG kind of like perfected the style of play, very fast paced in terms of getting back into it. It was very much focused on the gameplay versus like all the other stuff, and that was the game. So PUBG kind of began the perfection of the game mode. Fortnite is super popular because it's FTP. Free-to-play games have an advantage in how they get money, right? So they're super easy to access, and then everything else is like... so idiots are going to spend money however they're going to spend money.
Well,
but I think in general, Battle Royale games are on the way down because once AAA games start to incorporate them, I think that signals the death note of whatever style gameplay that is.
I definitely agree. I don't think that the Battlefield 5 and Black Ops 4 Battle Royale versions will be, or game type modes will be interesting at all. I don't think... I personally... I'm not sure if I'm even going to get either of those games, so I don't know. I'm certainly on my way out in terms of buying in my series of buying these games. But that being said, Call of Duty is the highest selling game every single year, and maybe I think that if there's another multiplayer mode, and it's because of multiplayer. It's just statistics have shown the reason why Black Ops 4 is not going to have a single player mode is because people on average start the single player or don't even touch the single player and don't finish the single player in those games. So why even spend money on it if everyone's just buying it for multiplayer? And I think that's kind of sad in terms of, there were hundreds and hundreds of men and women hours put into the single player experiences of those games, and they spent a lot of money on high budget actors like Kevin Spacey, who is currently
and knows Kit where Harington.
He is. Yeah, exactly. Into these games, and I honestly think that some of, or at least Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2 had some pretty interesting story modes. I didn't play the story modes after Ghosts. I just stopped playing Call of Duty at that point. But I mean, it seems like these were pretty high budget first-person shooter single-player experiences. So, and a lot of people spent a lot of time on it. So it's really sad that no one got to see, or half the people that bought the game didn't even see it to the end.
I also think it, like for Call of Duty, for instance,
Yeah.
I think it depends on which studio is making the game.
I think it's...
So, like, Treyarch games, I will buy.
I think the Black Ops franchise is made by
Treyarch.
And
yeah, and those are the games that I think I prefer. Like, I'm considering getting Blops 4.
Blops 4? Okay. Well, it's on your Blizzard app right now. You can pre-order it. Yeah, no, I'll definitely get it if you get it and a bunch of my friends get it, and it'll be fun to play. It's a fun game to play with people, so I agree. I'll probably get it at that point. But so I agree with what you're saying. It could be a signal that the Battle Royale genre is on its way out. I don't think Fortnite and PUBG are done, though. Obviously, PUBG I don't even think has been officially released yet. I think it's, or has it been officially released, or is it still in alpha or beta, whatever you call it? But yeah, so
I'm not positive
whether or not it is. I think that Fortnite at least is. I think I don't want to get mad at the free-to-play model from the Fortnite perspective. I think they did it pretty well. I don't necessarily like free-to-play models because it feels like you're getting nagged all the time to keep paying money. And I think that that's a really predatory way to make money on these games. So I think Fortnite has loot boxes, but when I play Fortnite, or the few times I've played Fortnite, I didn't feel like I had to buy something. I don't think they were constantly nagging you to buy a new skin or get a new emote or whatever it is. So I think that they have a pretty solid model that isn't super predatory in any way. But I don't know. That was my experience.
I slightly disagree because, like, if you want to change anything in that game, the options are super limited unless you purchase things.
Okay, yeah. Well,
so if you want to do any kind of emote or a different skin,
you have to
like
buy it.
It's not going to like prompt you for it necessarily, but if you were like you see anybody else wearing a different skin,
but
you basically have to purchase it.
Okay.
The options of free, like gained by experience just playing the game are super low.
Okay. Well, Yvonne, think about this. You spent no money on the game. Don't you think, I mean, at some point when you buy a $60 game, you spend $60 on it. That's a lot of money, right? So if you were to just buy a $10 or spend $10 on Fortnite, could you potentially, do you think, I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong. I'm just asking the question, do you think that you could get the same amount of enjoyment out of the game with a $10 purchase for Fortnite? I don't know. I haven't played the game that much. This again harkens back to our discussion of free to play.
Yeah, this is a difficult question for me to answer. I think that I just don't like Fortnite as a game. I really don't think it's that fun. It's not for me.
But it's for a lot of people, so I don't want to say it's a bad game. I get that.
So like, there's a difference of what I think versus what the common opinion is.
Yeah.
So I think that I know students of that I have taught or that I've been talking to about Fortnite, they'll say basically they'll spend like allowance money weekly on it.
Okay.
And a few of them are like, yeah, I've got 50 something victories. I have every single thing that you can have in the game. I spend like a few $100 on it.
It's a lot of money.
Versus some students who are like, yeah, I just spend like $20 a week on it. So I think in general,
Also a lot of money.
I would rather have a $60 game or like a $40 game where I didn't have to, you know, where I got a lot more options than just a standard.
Yeah.
Or like, if I have to, like, in Overwatch, I don't purchase loot boxes anymore. And I feel like I get enough variety from the loot boxes that I open that I'm not super pressed to buy games or buy loot boxes and things. So would I pay $10, $15 for the game, for the base game? No. Would I pay $10, $15 for like 30 to 40% more things than just the base game? Probably.
Yeah. All right.
And like the more I have to pay, the more of those like skins or different emotes I have to get just for being part of it.
Cool. I think what Fortnite has done in terms of the battle royale genre, it can't be understated. I think, or Epic Games specifically, they're the developers of the game. I don't think it can be. I think clearly they've taken a lot of.
They're a really good developer
absolutely.
for multiplayer games. They didn't they do a MOBA before as well?
I think so.
They did sure. What's that one with the gods?
Smite,
isn't that Epic Games?
Epic Games Wikipedia. Let me see a list of your games.
They did Unreal Tournament.
That's
so cool. Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't want to understate what they've done. They've made a game that works. PUBG is, I mean, for as much as we love it, it is janky as fuck, or at least it was when we played it. I think we should jump back in nowadays.
Yeah, we should probably.
It works. It's free to play, so everyone can access it. And they've put it on every single system known to man. It's coming out on Switch. That's leaked, but it's so obvious that it's going to be on Switch, including your phone. And the same account applies to every single thing. So I think that alone is a gaming feat that has not really been done in any other game as a platform nowadays. So I think that is an accomplishment, and they should be applauded for that at least. And I certainly applaud them for that. So a lot of developers may not be because of the developer. I mean, I'm sure developers would love to have their game on every system and do what Epic Games has done, but they're restricted due to contracts, perhaps. I'm not sure. But for instance, like Destiny, or Bungie with Activision and Destiny, I'm not sure if PlayStation has some, or Sony has some specific contract clause that prevents them from doing that. Otherwise, I'd be totally happy to switch between PC and PS4 all the time. But yeah, so I think that's a really impressive thing that Fortnite has done, and I think they're continuously updating this game. So I personally don't think it'll die out as soon as you think. Well, you didn't really say when you said it was going to die out, but you think it's on its way out, right?
I do.
I agree. I don't think. I think we'll see, at least for another year to a year and a half of other companies trying to make battle royale games, and then we'll still eventually see Fortnite be the top. So I think that's the situation we're in. I don't necessarily like Fortnite, but honestly, it's here to stay. So what more do you want?
I couldn't tell you.
And well, anyways, Yvonne, I'll tell you, don't see Battle Royale 2. If I were to suggest you to play a game, it would not be Fortnite, but Fortnite's here to stay. Drake played it. It's popular. If you're going to see a Battle Royale movie, I highly suggest you see Battle Royale 1 and not Battle Royale 2. This has been your first Hungover Gaming movie club review. We thought we're trying to pick movies that we can sort of branch out into a broader context that we would like to talk about. So tell us in the comments section below a movie that you think we should watch.
I have a movie that I want to watch that isn't a broader context.
That is not? That's totally fine. Fuck it. I say that we should, but you're also here, Yvonne. Tell me the movie.
So Undercover.
So Undercover. Oh, that movie that you told me to watch before.
It is a Miley Cyrus movie.
Miley Cyrus. Cool. I wanted to see that.
It is really, really
weird.
Great.
It's a great movie. Okay, everyone in the comment section below, watching this video, listening to this audio, anyone in the Twitch chat right now, we're going to be discussing So Undercover, the Miley Cyrus classic from 2007?
2012, I
2012. Very exciting movie. That's our next movie club movie. Hope you guys can check it out. Do you know what services it's on?
Netflix.
It's on Netflix, so it's not too terribly difficult to access. I know I'll watch it in the future. Our next podcast will, of course, be about our E3 reactions and discussion, so tune in for that next week. But for the week after, we will probably watch, or Yvonne's already seen the movie, but we will review
I will watch
So
more of it.
Undercover. Definitely be excited for that movie. Yvonne, we end our podcast every single week. Thanks so much for watching Battle Royale 2, by the way. I'm sorry I made you watch that.
I am sorry you made me watch it too.
But it made for a good discussion about Battle Royale games, I think.
It was, I think so too. I think Battle Royale games are fun in general, but there's what I don't like about Fortnite is it's janky, the graphics are weird, the building aspect I don't like. What I don't like about other Battle Royale games is that they're not truly Battle Royale games a lot of the times. They're fun, but they're not here to last, I don't think.
I don't think they're here to last either, but we will have to let time tell the tale. Yvonne, we end our podcast every single week in a song in a segment called Hungover Radio. This is where you, the listener or viewer, can send in your music that you wrote, produced, played an instrument on, sang, etc. into gaminghungover@gmail.com. The link is in the description below, of course. And this is where I will play a song for you guys, or Yvonne will play a song for you guys also if no one sends in a song. Today, we didn't get another... we've only ever gotten one submission, all right? So you guys need to pick up the pace here and send some songs in, for Christ's sake.
Y'all are slacking.
God damn it. I got to do all this work in production, all right? Because I forget every single time that I have this stupid segment of this goddamn podcast. All right, so today I've picked a song for you guys because out of the kindness of my heart, and also related to the theme of Battle Royales, we're going to be playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds main menu theme from November 2017. This is an exciting one, guys. I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Keep the conversation going in the comment section below. Yvonne, thanks so much for watching Battle Royale 2 and being my lovely co-host.
Yeah, fuck you for making me. Bye.
Well, bye.